All right, welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight in today. We're looking at this puzzle you sent over. Why does something super simple like Apple's Think Different just land?
Mm.
While these really complicated marketing efforts full of details often just fizzle out.
Yeah, it's a great question. And the answer really boils down to avoiding something called cognitive overload.
Cognitive overload.
Yeah. And it's huge for basically any business, but especially in crowded spaces like, say, fitness centers. You see it constantly.
Mm-hmm.
This marketing by blender approach.
Marketing by blender.
Yeah, just chucking everything in. Join now. Free trial. No contract.
Yeah.
All yelling at once. And the customer just gets overwhelmed. Not interested, just overloaded.
Okay, so let's get into the psychology here. We've got this 2024 study, Bilali and Luma, and it basically says, look, a little bit of mental work, a moderate load, that can actually boost engagement.
Right, it makes you lean in a bit.
But too much, that excessive load, it just kills attention, understanding, even remembering it later.
Exactly. And to get why, you kind of need to break down the types of mental load. There are three, really. First is intrinsic load.
Intrinsic, okay.
That's just the basic effort to understand the core concept itself. What is this thing?
Got it. Then there's germane load?
Germane load, yeah. And that's the good kind of effort, the useful struggle, like you said earlier, that actually helps you build connections, understand it deeper, make sense of it.
Okay, so that's constructive effort. But the third one is the problem.
That's the killer. Extraneous load. This is all the useless stuff. The mental clutter. Irrelevant pictures, text that just repeats itself, maybe conflicting messages.
Huh. So that's the junk that gets in the way.
Totally. It hijacks your brain's working memory. And boom, clarity just collapses.
And you saw this happen in practice.
Oh yeah, we saw it big time. In this, well, frankly, kind of painful audit of some major Australian gym chains. Jets, Snap Fitness, Anytime, F45.
Oh, the big ones. What did you find?
The data was pretty stark. The average complexity score for their main pages was 3.4 out of 5.
Wow, 3.4. That sounds not great. Did the research suggest what a good score, like an optimal score, would be?
Well, lower, certainly. But get this, 25%, a quarter of their main pages, had 2 or more calls to action, right there in the main section.
2 CTAs, so telling people to do 2 different things at once.
Exactly, like get your free pass right next to explore memberships.
Okay, but wait. If the data is this clear that complexity is bad, why are these big players, these major chains, still doing it? It doesn't make sense externally.
But internally, it often feels safer. It's driven by these really common cognitive biases.
Like what?
Well, loss aversion is a big one. The marketing team hates the idea of leaving anything out. What if someone really cares about the kids area? We have to mention it.
Right, fear of missing out on that one specific customer.
Exactly. And then there's the sunk cost fallacy. They've already spent time and money on creating the ad or the page, so they feel they need to add more stuff to, justify or protect that initial investment.
So internal panic leads to external confusion?
Precisely. And it creates what's called choice friction for the user. There's actually a formula for this, Hick's law.
Hick's law?
Yeah, it basically states that the time it takes you to make a decision goes up, often dramatically, with the number of choices you have. So that gym ad with 2 CTAs, you're not just adding an option, you're potentially doubling or tripling the hesitation time.
And in that hesitation, you lose them.
You lose the click, you lose the conversion. Compare that friction to, say, the infamous Pepsi ad with Kendall Jenner. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Total mess.
Total mess because it was overloaded. Too many symbols, too many competing messages. Nobody knew what it was actually trying to say.
Right. And the opposite.
The opposite. Think about McDonald's recent Raise Your Arches campaign. Super simple, no food shots, no deals mentioned, just that eyebrow lift.
Eyebrow lift. Yeah.
One cue, one meaning. Massive recall. That's cognitive economy. Your brain loves processing ease, loves fluency. And we actually interpret that ease, that fluency, as trustworthiness.
Interesting. So simplicity feels more trustworthy to our brains.
It does. Smart brands know this. They treat simplicity like a discipline. You see Apple's website. Often just one big headline, one striking photo, one clear button to click.
Or like you mentioned with fitness, those are really punchy lines.
Exactly. One membership, all clubs, one price. It's crystal clear. It does one job.
So it's this really interesting paradox then. Inside the company, adding more feels productive, feels safe. But to the customer, it just feels like work. It feels exhausting.
That's it, exactly. The human brain rewards clarity. It punishes clutter.
It forces you to choose, to commit to a single promise. It reminds me of what fitness actually teaches. Strength isn't about doing everything all at once. It comes from focus, from restraint,
Yeah.
controlled stress, not from never resting, right?
Well put.
So here's the final thought for you listening. If your marketing, your ad, your webpage really only has one job to do, what is the single essential promise you absolutely must choose to make? What's the one thing? That's something to chew on.